You are listening to Wicked Psychotherapists, a podcast where two psychotherapists show you that taking care of and learning about mental health doesn't have to be wicked hard.
Hey everyone, it's Tanya.
Hi, it's Erin, and welcome to Wicked Psychotherapists.
Yes, so today we have a really fun one, and we are not stopping our role with Adam Sandler. We are obsessed. Adam, if you're listening, we are fellow New Englanders. We love you. We're dedicating like our days to you. We're watching all your movies and psychoanalyzing them somewhat.
Yeah, everyone is going back in time with Adam.
Yeah, it's great. It's amazing. But yeah, today we're going to be talking about Jack and Jill, which was in 2011. So it's a little bit closer to now than before. We're used to talking about the 90s, kind of early 2000 Adam Sandler movies, but this is a little closer.
Mm-hmm.
So this is a more recent one.
Yeah, they actually had internet and cell phones.
There's some relation there. I had not seen this before. I believe you hadn't seen it before too,
no,
right?
I've never seen it.
I hadn't either. It was a delightful surprise. I was like, wow, I knew it would be good because it's Adam Sandler, but I was like, this kind of seems a little wacky, but I was definitely laughing in a lot of places. I loved that Adam Sandler became his own twin, female version of himself, because there's a storyline based around Jack and Jill, who are fraternal twins. Their interactions together are really interesting. Their personalities and how they interact and the storyline that unfolds there's a lot to be said for mental health, but also just it's funny and fun to watch. I think it kind of starts out with, we get an introduction to Jack, Jack and Jill are both Adam Sandler. Anyone can tell.
Like they just like we had talked about, like in Waterboy, with the really bad wigs for Red and Coach Klein. And so now it's like they're not really trying to pretty up Jill that much.
Right. They were letting her be her. Yeah, she was an interesting looking gal. Adam Sandler, it's a good thing he was born male. But that's kind of part of the joke. But we see his life. We're introduced to his life first, Jack, and he's this high-level executive producer or advertising exec
for
right?
commercials. Yeah,
for commercials. Yeah.
I think it looks like he directs. Like it looks like he's. I don't know if he owns the company because I think his name is on something.
Yeah, it is. It looks like he owns it with someone, and so he's very successful. You see, like he has a very nice home, wife, 2 kids. Things like that. The wife played by Katie Holmes. And yeah, so you kind of see, okay, this guy's got a lot going for him. And then they start talking about the visit with Jill, his sister. And you can kind of see that Jack is not too thrilled to have her. He's kind of, not very excited. Seems like she's kind of a burden. And his wife, Katie Holmes, I can't remember her name. Is it Elaine?
No, I think it's Erin.
Is it Erin? Oh,
yes.
Okay. How did I not remember that? Okay, I thought Elaine.
You're like, wait a minute, that name sounds familiar. How do I know the name Erin?
Okay, so Erin. All right, so that's easy enough. I should remember that. But yeah, Erin is like, try to be nice to your sister. She seems like she kind of understands that Jill is kind of fragile. We learned that their mother has just passed away within the past year. Jill is still living in the Bronx, where I guess they grew up. Jill was pretty close to the mom. And Jack kind of seems to be in his own world out in LA. He's in LA, right? And kind of living his life and kind of separate. Jill is just all emotions and unfiltered emotions.
Yeah.
And Jack is kind of more, business first and kind of like, let's act like civilized people and, kind of that type of, you have that dichotomy of the 2 personalities between them. Yeah, when she comes to town, she's flying into LA from the Bronx. You just see right off the bat, she's a wild character. She's wild.
She has 50 bags, 50 humongous bags. Which should have been an indication to Jack.
like she's probably staying longer than
I don't think they visit. She doesn't have plans of.
And she also brings her bird Poopsie, who's like, what is it, a cockatoo or something?
I think so. Yeah. It's her best friend. I liked how she's like, you brought the bird? She's like, well, he's my best friend.
And yeah, like she's just so like open and authentically herself. Like she's not embarrassed by these things that some people might kind of, maybe try to hide. She's just herself.
Mm-hmm.
And we start to see tension between, with Jack with Jill. I don't think
Mm-hmm.
Jill has any tension. Jill actually wants to spend more time with Jack and have twin time. She wants to
Yeah.
cuddle with him, and he's like, no, I'm a grown man. I'm not getting in that. And there's a lot of kind of, you can sense that Jack is very distant. He's like, I'm a family man. I'm a grown adult, and she's very much like, I want to have twin time, like it's her. She misses him, and she's like, you pointed out she's grieving their mom, and he doesn't
Mm-hmm.
actually really bring it up too
No,
much,
he never.
yeah.
It's just because this is. I assume it's probably the first holidays that they've had without the mom. Every single thing Jill mentions, like, well, mom said to pack extra. Mom, what about this? Mom said that, every single thing in the movie she brings up to something she learned from her mom or something mom told us, or so she's very much in the forefront of her thoughts.
Yeah. Yeah, it's something that like she's carrying her with her, kind of like trying to keep her alive. She's thinking about her, and she's still processing probably her grief and that, and she really wants to be close to her brother the way that they were. And Jack is just not having it. He's just not
Mm-hmm.
super into it. He thinks it's weird. He kind of finds her loud and brash and annoying, and the opposite of what he wants to appear as.
Yeah.
And you really see that in the Thanksgiving dinner with Erin's in-laws are there, her parents, and then the two kids, and Otto, the homeless man, unhoused person who is there, that gets invited from the shelter that the mother-in-law works at.
Got her volunteered, and she's like, and we're bringing Otto, which I thought was funny too. Like they bring Otto, it doesn't look like they really offered Otto a bath or a shower, and just like he still has like whole leaf shirts and sweat, whatever's happening, jacket, and it's just it's kind of funny. It's just like, all right, that's their good deed. Helping.
It's kind of like, you kind of see this feeling of like, yeah, that's our good deed. Like they're very much kind of image conscious of like, we're good people because we invited this person back.
Yeah.
This is like what we do. And then you have Jill is such a contrast to that. She's just loud, says what's on her mind. She starts whispering at dinner like, is he homeless? He's not whispering at all.
Yeah. What are you whispering with a bullhorn? It's like, oh my God, but even the homeless guy, Otto, he's like, I don't know. It's probably like, not that he appreciates it, but it's probably like, all right, this woman is like not trying to just give me, like attention just because they feel like they have to make themselves a better person. She's just like,
just for their own image. Like this is an authentic person, someone who's just really interacting with me the way that a person might feel,
right.
Rather than like, oh, we're fine. We're doing everything for you. We're inviting you in for a meal. And then, he'll go back to where he goes to.
So there was one thing that made me laugh. It was like, yeah, then he'll go back to his home less.
Oh man, and we are not laughing at that. Like clearly we're not laughing at that situation for anyone. It's just the way it was in the movie. Yeah. So please don't mistake that.
Yes.
But it's just, the movie is just ridiculous, but hilarious. Yeah, and then I love how, Jill really wants to sit next to Jack, and she's like, the mother-in-law is in the seat next to him. She's like, but that's my seat. Why would you be in my seat? And and the mother-in-law's like, oh, I can get up, just trying to be polite and like very image conscious, like civility, and she's like, oh, well, do you want to sit there? And then she's like, I don't know. She's just like, you're putting me in an awkward spot.
Yeah. But it's also interesting too, because like you could see the power with the mother, with Erin's mom, like where she's like, she didn't want to move. And did she know that that's where Jill usually sits? Because she's probably been to Thanksgiving dinners there before. So it's interesting that she
true. Yeah. Who knows? Like it was kind of a power move. Like it was kind of like, I'm closer to the head of the table or something. And like kind of like, oh, well, Jill can just find a spot wherever kind of thing. But Yeah, Jill is just like, okay, I'll go sit over here, and then starts whispering with a bullhorn. You just start to realize that Jill is the exact opposite of
Yeah.
Jack.
Yeah.
She's very unfiltered. She's very much just says whatever comes to mind. She has very kind of loud, brash fashion sense, and that's her personality as well.
And her emotions are very, Jack is a little more filtered and like reserved and image conscious, because everything is like, okay, I have to think of how this is going to affect my business and the people I serve, so he probably carries that at home, where Jill is just like, like all of her emotions. Anytime she's upset, she runs away, which is
and cries.
Which might be something that is learned behavior in the past. Maybe she was rewarded from that with her mom, or so, like who knows what roles the twins had growing up. But
or maybe it could have been that maybe she never really got any. I mean, I don't know with the mom, but maybe she never got that kind of attention back from her brother, because they see when they're growing up, like she's always kind of trying to like get his attention and be like near his prom date and like hit the date with the tennis ball, and like she kind of just wants his attention, and so I think she kind of never really got that from him, and she's like, well, I'm just gonna almost throw like a tantrum, like you can't. But yeah, she definitely is very big emotions and kind of dysregulated, but you sense that it's kind of like, she really is, there's hurt behind that with probably her mom, probably feeling not close to her brother when she really wants to feel close, feeling alone now because she's alone back in the Bronx. And, and she also has indicated she doesn't have like a partner, she's in her 40s and doesn't have any kids or anything. So she's very alone.
Yeah, and she's never been in love, never. And that was like a part where you see Jack almost having a human connection with his sister when she starts talking about that she's never had a relationship, never been in love, because it's everyone always was attracted to Jack, and so that's when they start making that eHarmony or whatever they end up doing, like the soulmate thing. And at first he's like, ha ha ha, but then when he sees her with the mascara running and she's just laying on her bed hugging her bird, because she cried herself to sleep because nobody wanted to date her. So he's like, all right, let me do this on Craigslist, just to find someone to date her.
Yeah.
I mean, it was in a malicious way, just because he's like, all right, let me just put all these things that aren't really true, but I just want somebody to connect with her, because he also wanted her to leave his house eventually.
Yeah, and like kind of not to deal with her emotions, right? Like the emotions are too big for him. He gets very uncomfortable around it, and he like kind of just wants it to stop. Yeah, so it is kind of selfish, but it also is kind of caring. And he's like, oh, well, she's a knockout. And they show when she got knocked out from the wheel. He's like taking like, he's like, well, I'm kind of stretching, semantics. I'm stretching the truth.
Yeah.
But yeah, and then she gets some attention. The guy is not, she goes out on a date and the guy is just kind of runs away from her and hides on the ceiling.
Norm McDonald. Yeah.
It's like, I can't be around her.
Like, why did he even because as soon as he saw her, he's like, wait a minute. This is, but I'm thinking like he saw the picture because it directed him to the dating website. So he saw the picture of her eating the sandwich.
I wonder if he maybe didn't even check. Maybe he just saw that and was just like, oh, you know what I mean? Like maybe he just was like, oh, this sounds nice. I'll just give her a call. Like maybe he didn't really check it that close or something.
So he's like, oh, wait a minute. It's Adam Sandler in a dress.
And she's talking about she's like, well, I do want kids. So maybe if this date goes well, maybe we got to hurry. Like she kind of scared the crap out of him on the first date.
He's like, here's this ugly woman and wanting to have children with me. Yeah.
Like just maybe on the first date, yeah. I was surprised he didn't just kind of like walk out. Like, why did he actually go to the bathroom and try to hide?
Yeah, that's what I was wondering too. Like, why didn't he leave? What was he planning on staying there for hours on the ceiling, like
just
Spider-Man?
There. That's us overanalyzing it, but I mean, still, yeah, we have to. You know how we are, people. But yeah, and then she, ends up. Then there's the show. She meets Al Pacino at the game, right at the basketball game, And this is something that Jack has been, the company was giving him pressure to get Al Pacino to be in a Dunkin' Donuts commercial because they wanted it to be like a Dunkachino or
Right.
cappuccino. Like there's
Or
all these
Al
puns.
not Al Pacino.
Al Dunkachino, whatever, Mochaccino, or I guess there's like a million of them, but
yeah.
And so he's like, oh, this is perfect. And immediately Al Pacino just takes like he's hanging out with Johnny Depp, and he's like, what, Al Pacino's like in disguise because he doesn't want to be recognized. He's like, what is this? You're supposed to be like my rabbi or something going on here.
Yeah. Then I liked it when Adam and Johnny Depp were roasting Al Pacino. He's like, oh, I thought he looked like Ben Lon, or then they're just like making fun of it, like right in
like,
front.
I thought more Castro.
Then Tanya and I were talking before when we were pre-gaming that Johnny Depp, so we get to have the connections. I know he only made a short cameo, but there is a connection.
So many episodes.
There is a connection with Johnny Depp too.
Yeah.
Who knew?
We had that obsession going. And in our Adam Sandler, there's these worlds colliding. Our obsessions are colliding.
Yes.
So.
We just don't have Winona or Cher jumping in. But that's
Cher. Yeah. Winona. But
it was
our obsessions.
But yeah, I thought it was really funny. Like, of all the people, Al Pacino is like becomes obsessed with.
He's like in love with it, love at first sight. Sends her over that hot dog with like his name and his number and ketchup. Jack is like, yeah, this is his in to get him to do the commercial. And she's just like, I don't know. I've never, like she says to him, I've never heard she's not impressed. Yeah. And so I guess, when she does go out she doesn't, she avoids him, right? It's when it's at the birthday party that he's like just hiding in the closet and is like, hey, come on a date with me to Europe, or just come on a date with me to my house. And he has like an array of cakes for her, and she's like in love with the cakes because she gets her own cake and everything.
She's like, this is great. That's all I wanted.
She feels like special. And then he's like, oh, I want you to hit the stick ball because like that's the Bronx connection.
Yeah.
And
she's like, what? This isn't me. I don't play this. Because he's trying to relive his youth and childhood, thinking like, okay, well, there's this connection because we grew up in the same place. She's still there.
Mm-hmm.
But she's like, I never played stickball.
She's like, what is this? Like, she doesn't even know what it is. When he talks about the Man of La Mancha, she's like, oh, the one with the hunchback, like the Hunchback of Notre Dame. She's like, oh, yeah. She gets it so mixed up, everything, like so foolishly. But yeah, I think she breaks his Oscar or something, and she's like, oh, I'm sorry. I hope you have another one. And he's like, no, I should, but kind of like a little slight there. And he's just in love with her, and she's just like, when he starts to put his hands on the stick and trying to flirt with her and be weird, and she's like, I think I know what you're doing, and it's gross. Like, it just like wants to get away from him.
Yeah, she's like, I do not want to kiss you. Get away from me.
He's not into him, which is like so funny because you wouldn't picture that. But yeah, and in that, I think that's really interesting with Jill because she is authentically, I think, herself. Like, she's like, I don't find him, even though like the world admires him, like I'm not into that. You know, like even though I know like he's this huge star, I'm not into him because of that. I want to feel like I like someone and really are, connecting with them. And he's just kind of obsessed with me, and she finds it weird, and she's not into the whole image thing, which Jack really wants her to be.
Interesting too, because Jack seems so starstruck, and like his whole everything revolves around that. Jill isn't. She doesn't even know movies. Like when they're talking about It's a Wonderful Life, and she's like, no, the other one with Jimmy Stewart. The other, she's describing the entire movie, and they're like, A Wonderful Life.
Exact way. They're like, it's one. She's like, why do you keep saying that?
No. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. Yeah, she's just silly about. She doesn't know movies. Her movie trivia is very off. So you really kind of see there's a huge difference there, and you see Jack getting upset at her when she kind of refuses Al Pacino because he's like, oh, that ruins my chances, but he's like not taking her feelings into account, and then she kind of disappears and wants to go home, and he's like, oh, and he ends up talking to Al Pacino, and Al Pacino basically kind of is like, I'll do the commercial if like I can get with your sister kind of thing, which is kind of gross. He lost some points there, but and so Jack invites her on the European cruise that he didn't want her on, but feels like, okay, I can get her to go on a date, convince her to go on a date, so I can, because he really wants Al Pacino to do the Dunkin' Donuts commercial.
It's a make or break for his career. So Jack is right now, it's again so polar opposite of his sister. He's thinking more in terms of what can help me financially and career-wise, where Jill is so led by her heart and family and emotion. It is very interesting too. It's like these sibling dynamics, but it's also showing like what is, what drives them. What's the driver for both of them?
Yeah. Yeah. And it's interesting when they show them growing up, and it seems like Jack does have more of the opportunities. Like he kind of is more attractive to his peers. He's less socially awkward, and that sets him up to kind of be like, these are the important values. Whereas Jill is kind of more of an outcast. And I think she really focuses on the things that are really kind of, like you have good connections with. You would be able to say like, hey, this is something that's actually genuinely important. You would, like family and being nice to people, being kind to people, even though she doesn't have a filter. That's just kind of her personality.
Yeah.
She's not trying to be unkind. She just, that's just
she's
the way
not
she
hiding
thinks.
anything. She's not a phony. She's authentic.
Right.
Which is, again, really opposite of everything that Jack surrounds himself with. So if he's with a bunch of actors or Hollywood people or anything, a lot of them are probably not being their true self. And it's different than just living in the Bronx, probably living in the same house you've lived in your whole life. Even when she goes to eat with Felipe's family and she's like, oh, well, I don't know. I've never had Mexican because I don't serve it at my deli. So she's probably only ever, she probably just like her little bubble is like whatever is in her neighborhood. So she's not really exposing herself, not because she doesn't want to, but just because this is who, I've always gone to this deli. I know the people, and it's probably just comfort for her.
And so she kind of had to find her own place, like with her mom in her hometown. And with Jack, he was worshipped by these people, so he went to a place where he could be kind of worshipped and be in that world.
Right.
And so it actually kind of turned out to be something that worked against him in the end.
Right.
When she does go to Felipe's family picnic, it is really interesting because you see her genuinely happy and enjoying herself, and the family's like just think she's great. She keeps whacking her in the head, and they have to keep waking her up with the jalapenos, pinata. And
that was when I was shocked it wasn't Steve Buscemi, but it was some other person
with the googly eye.
Yeah, it seemed like that. It was nice to see her. Funny. It was nice to see her be herself, be her like obnoxious or loud or whatever self, and everybody in the family was like, "Oh my gosh, this is awesome. We love this. We accept this."
Yeah. They appreciated her. They appreciated like all her traits, and they really thought she was great, and she had a good time there. And so and he seemed to really like her too. He was, even when she had the chimichanga bombs or whatever.
Yeah. Well, and I thought it was interesting too, like even when they're playing soccer, here she, because she's always such a clumsy buffoon. Like, with the jet ski, with the stickball, with everything. Like, it's just like, oh my God, what is she going to break? But then she's like playing soccer perfectly. It's like, it's like, it took her a minute. She had to hit grandma in the head with her shoe at first, but then it's like, let me get this.
She did real good. She was like a Ronaldo out there. She was just running up and down the field, and they loved her, and they picked her up, and one of the cousins is like, peeps under, and he's like, told you, nope, it's really a girl, it's not a guy. Like they bet on it. But and so you see there's like an authentic connection there, but Jack keeps wanting to force the connection with Al Pacino for his own career and financial gain. But you just see that kind of set up. And then when Al Pacino wants a date with her when they're on the cruise, he's like, oh crap, like, she's not going to do it. So he ends up dressing up as her. That literally is her. But
it's like, wait a minute, they look so much alike now. Oh wait, it's the same actor playing the same person.
She climbs up the ladder on the helicopter. Oh my God, that looked so scary. And they whisk her off to a date in Europe, and Al Pacino kind of really starts to, like kind of let his feelings out and say he really likes her, and she's like, but what do you like about me? And this is Jack asking this, like, why? You could have any girl in the world. Yeah. He's like, because you're authentic. You're you. You like
remind me of the Bronx.
Yeah. Like that's the time, like, something special to him. He's just so attracted to it. And just her realness and her authenticity, her kindness and her love for people. And, and then he says, like, Jack is a sycophant, like he just kisses butt. He's a hack, So then I think Jack really starts to see, like, oh wait, he starts to see kind of some of that from Al Pacino, some of the crap he dished out.
Something else about Al Pacino. You know what I liked? I thought it was so funny. Every single time, because Al Pacino was in The Godfather and all these other Italian type of movies and whatever, and every time he was talking Italian, they would make for the words they translated as "garply goopy goppy boop," because he's probably not speaking real Italian. It just like made up gibberish.
No, that was the joke. Yeah, he wasn't in the French and everything, because he was like, "Sir, I don't understand you.
Yeah, just
like you're not speaking anything." Yeah, he wasn't. He literally wasn't speaking French or Spanish or Italian.
It's so funny.
It was just like, and he was like, "Oh, okay, like you're not speaking it." He just thinks he's speaking it, and they're just like, "Okay, they oblige," or whatever. Yeah, because the French guy even says to him, "I don't understand what you're saying. You're not speaking French.
You're not speaking. You're not speaking any language."
Yeah, like what is that?
It's so funny.
But, Al Pacino just in his world is like, yeah,
I know what I'm doing.
Oh my god, yeah. But yeah, I think that, then of course Jack realizes the error of his ways after they get into a knockdown drag-out fight, which is just weird and hilarious because it just makes Al Pacino more attracted to her.
Right.
And then towards the end, we see that Adam wants to make things right because he sees that Jill is the real deal and she just wants family, and that's what's important, not this commercial. And so it's kind of that standard ending, but of course in a funny way with Adam Sandler and all his gang.
That was nice too, because we've talked in the other Adam Sandler movies. So this is also, about the movie, but also probably about Adam Sandler as a person, like how important family and friends are to him, like it probably in real life, because he always has the same troop. I mean, like it's, from, even John McEnroe is in the movie where we saw him in Mr. Deeds. And then, of course, everybody at the table is just, like the usual suspects, like David Spade as like ugly Monica, who thinks she's so beautiful. And
it's like the Jersey Shore. Yeah.
I could not figure out who Dana Carvey was in the movie.
The puppet guy at the beginning with the orange hair, the one that was like in the Pepto-Bismol commercial with
he's like, I have to be at Sesame Street soon. Yeah.
That was actually Regis Philbin's last appearance
before he died. Oh wow.
Yeah, which is like, I can't believe he died that long ago, because that was in 2011.
Yeah.
But yeah, so like he just kind of had all his gang there, and it was just funny the way, then Jill fights David Spade, whatever her name, Monica, ugly Monica, and tries and fends her off of Katie Holmes, because of course Monica's like, I dumped him, and then gets mad and attacks Erin, and is like, she's like, what the hell? Like, what do I do? But yeah, it's funny. Yeah. And then Al Pacino comes in and as Man of La Mancha and is like, I am not your true knight. And he sees that what's best for her. And of course,
she has no idea who he is, because she has no idea anything about movies or plays.
She's just like, what are you doing? Like,
who are you? Are you a hobbit?
He attacks the fan, and he's like, that's a fan. And he's like, no, it's this device. But then we see the happy ending with Felipe and his kids. It's just the natural connection, and that's who Jill ends up with. And I guess Al Pacino ends up doing the commercial at the end. We see him viewing it, and he's like, this must never be seen. But I loved the commercial. I thought it was amazing.
Come on, Dunkin' Donuts, release the commercial. Yeah, it was fun.
It was a great movie. I think that it was one of those movies I didn't see of Adam Sandler's, but I'm glad I watched it.
I don't know why. I don't know if I was like, oh my god, this looks so dumb. And but it was really funny. It was dumb, but it was really funny. And it did talk, I mean, it did have some psychological things. I mean, like we talk about, the grief of the mother, like, and like being stuck and family, sibling relationships, just identities, it's there's a lot of different things.
Yes. And Johnny Depp continues the circle, and all the celebrities that were in it. Yeah. Just good stuff, and all his gang. It's just all around. If you haven't seen it, go for it, because I think that was kind of one of his lesser known movies.
Yeah, it was. I Never seen it. And
Yeah.
but I think, and it was really funny. And what I like about Adam, like he's very juvenile, but I do like that it's like there's usually really laugh out loud stuff because I watched it with the kids and my husband last night, and kids were loving it. They love Adam Sandler. We're on the Adam Sandler fan club here.
I love it. Yeah. Adam Sandler is pretty amazing. And we're always going to have Adam Sandler probably connect somehow in some of our episodes, if not most of them.
I mean, there's probably a few that we won't do because Tanya doesn't like comedy romance. So we'll have to find other
rom-coms. I probably would make an exception though for like 50 First Dates. I'm not like that one. I could probably make an exception.
Yeah, I don't know. That one just drives me insane. I am not a big 50 First Date. I've seen it a few times. I'm like, ugh. I don't know if it's Drew Barrymore or what. It probably is. I don't know. Or it's just like I feel like the movie's too long. Something about it. She doesn't have her memory. She has her memory now. All right. Just stop trying to force it.
Chemistry is just off too.
Yeah.
But I mean, I would like. There's some that like Adam Sandler made with Jennifer Aniston, like the Netflix ones. Those are like
those are really good. I would say we should do one of those.
Are those rom-coms or are those like mystery thriller kind of rom-coms?
I don't know. They're really good.
There's a little bit of like rom-com in there. Like I did watch those and I thought those were funny. Like they're kind of comedy, a little bit of rom, a little bit of like thriller. Like I would do those.
Yeah, the murder mystery. I think there's like one or two.
Yeah. I think there's a new one coming out soon, but I think I read.
Yeah, those
somewhere.
are good. I would say that. There's a bunch. Looking at the list, there's like 1 million of his movies. There's probably a couple that we might be like, this is just too dumb. We're not going to do this. But
okay, so now we're going to come to our fun question, which I just thought of. So this really has nothing to do with the movie, just maybe a little bit, but the coffee debate. And remember, you're a New Englander.
Okay.
Dunkin' Donuts or Starbucks?
Oh, Dunkin' Donuts all the way. I actually like the only way I can tolerate Starbucks is if I get one of those flavored drinks, so you're basically like only Starbucks I like is like the white chocolate mocha, but I can have just a Dunkin', just cream and sugar or milk and sugar, like you don't have to do, or just black because it's not gross. I feel like Starbucks tastes like burnt coffee.
See, I feel I am a betrayal to New England.
Oh, Tanya.
I'm not a Starbucks person, but I will choose Starbucks over Dunkin' Donuts. And it's because I had two bad experiences in a row with Dunkin' Donuts where I got really sick off of it. And I don't know what it was, but I just was like turned off from it.
Yeah, it was throwing up because there's a couple Dunkin' Donuts where I live that I won't get because they don't understand if you just say milk and sugar or whatever.
Yeah.
They'll put like 50 in, but there's some that understand because like when you're in New England, you could say like I want a, regular, and they'll know how to put the cream and sugar in. Here, you can't say regular because they'll be like, huh, what? But
what do you mean regular?
They should really train everybody what a regular is. So, but there's a couple that if you just say milk and sugar or cream and sugar, they do like the, 3 scoops or whatever it's supposed to be. And because I worked at Honeydew and something else when I was younger, so I understand.
Honeydew, yeah.
Shaken, not stirred.
Oh my gosh.
But Starbucks, I do like the consistency. So that's one thing I do like better if you're out of New England. Is the consistency with Starbucks because I did, I have the one Dunkin' that I go to because I know it's going to be consistent, but other ones I'm like, I don't want to go to that one. So if I'm at other places, it will be Starbucks because I want my coffee made correct. I'm such a jerk.
Right. But no, that's the way I feel too, and the feeling of like that you're not going to get poisoned and everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, like if I have I usually actually make my coffee like almost 98% of the time at home. Like it's only if I'm like away at like something, like I don't know, whatever. Yeah. And if there's a Dunkin' Donuts or a Starbucks, and that's the only options, I'll usually go to Starbucks because of the consistency.
Drink it this morning because I have a Dunkin'.
And well, there we go. That's right in line. It's a tough one because I want to say Dunkin' Donuts, but I just can't with the bad experiences I've had.
If there was Honeydew here, I would pick Honeydew over Dunkin' Donuts just because
Honeydew has good coffee.
Honeydew just knows how to make the coffee, and I think it is the shaken, not stirred. Especially if you get iced, they'll pour it in the 2 different cups, and it's just
that's a good flavor.
It's just I don't know, just something about it.
Like, I know this isn't really New England. This is more like, I think it's originally Canadian. Tim Hortons actually has some really good
I heard
coffee.
that. I've never had a Tim Hortons.
Coffee.
I heard they're really good.
It's pretty good, yeah. Like, I wouldn't say I'm like obsessed with it, but I honestly, the coffee I like the best, and this is just simply because I know what I like, is the one I make at home. And I know, like, I grind it fresh, and I know what coffee beans I like. You know what I mean? And that's the one I like the best.
I used to be a coffee snob because I used to work at a couple coffee places in Rhode Island, and then Honeydew for a little bit. And then, so it's like I used to only drink French roast because of the, or dark, you know, like, because that was what it was like, newer. And I was like, okay, the darker the roast, the higher the caffeine. But yeah, I don't know.
I thought it was the lighter the roast, the higher the caffeine.
Mm-mm. No, I think it's the opposite, unless I'm insane. But no, I think the darker the roast, it's like, it's more caffeine intake. Lighter roast, it's like less. I'm pretty sure.
I think it's the other way around.
Really?
Because because it's like the more blonde, like I don't remember how I know this, but something is sticking in my head saying it's the lighter roast.
Oh, but I used to always like darker roast better.
Maybe it wasn't. Maybe that's just now. Maybe like when they first came out with it. I don't know.
No,
maybe
you're
I'm
right.
just talking out of my butt.
Oh my gosh, you're right. Maybe I was taught wrong.
Maybe there was something with the dark roast that you had that they were like extra caffeinated. Do you know what I mean?
Because they would always say
that
it.
Probably was.
So maybe.
Yeah. I mean, either that or they could have added something in there. So maybe that's probably what it was.
Yeah,
because
and it's supposed to be healthier.
It's
supposed to be healthier too.
Yeah, the dark roast is definitely better for you.
Yeah.
Yeah. But like, it's confusing because I think there used to be more things added in, and probably like the advertising, like, because I had it in my brain too, like that, like dark roast more like is more caffeine.
Yeah.
And I think that's because of the advertising, but I looked it up or somebody told me something. Oh, it was one of my friends.
Yeah. Oh yeah, here's something. It's like, while a common misconception is that dark roast coffee has more caffeine, the actual coffee content per bean is quite similar across the different roasts.
So none of them are. So they're all.
So it says light versus dark. The roasting process differs, the flavor profile, but it doesn't impact the caffeine. So it's the same, dark or light. So everybody, you learned something. Don't waste your money on different coffee unless you like it for the taste. It's the same caffeine. Who knew?
We've all learned a big lesson. You know, it's strange because I like the flavor of the darker roast better.
Yeah.
Like, I don't like light roast, but I'm wondering if, like, I think light roast is not very popular. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong in this. And I think maybe that's a selling point. Maybe they try to be like, oh, there's more caffeine in it.
Like, it's better on your stomach and stuff. I don't know. That's funny. I used to always think it was like, I don't know. Who knew?
Well, I thought the lighter roasts were, so I don't know. Maybe it's just been advertised that way.
I don't
Learn
know.
something new every day, and we'll probably forget it the next time.
Yeah,
too.
we will.
But today, that's all that matters.
We are teaching you guys something. You're hearing it live or recorded live.
Recorded live.
Even though Erin worked at a lot of different coffee places in her journey of finding herself, she does not know
drink a lot of coffee, and so I should know that too.
All I know is Honeydew has good coffee.
They definitely do.
Come on, Honeydew, come to Florida.
Yes. Oh my God. I don't see many honeydews around in Western Mass.
Really?
Where I am, but
just closer to the Rhode Island line.
Yeah, and kind of the southeast part. Yep, that's right around where I went to school. Yep, but So, anyways, let us know what you think about coffee and what you know or didn't know, because we clearly were all mixed up. But now I think we've set the record straight. So
yeah, it's Starbucks, and Dunkin for But that's so funny.
Do you
though.
have? Sorry.
No, what were we gonna say?
I was gonna say, do you have like a favorite type of coffee that you get a lot? Like if you make it at home, kind of thing.
I usually get
Starbucks. That's good in the bag.
If I'm picking myself, I'll get Starbucks because I don't have a grinder, so I'll just get. I do like because then I can make it as dark or I don't know because I always feel like sometimes I feel like Starbucks, they burn their coffee. Like if you're just getting the regular cup of coffee, I feel like they keep it on the thing too long and it tastes burnt.
They probably do because they have to like make it. They probably just have to keep it heated. Yeah.
And that's.
I'm pretty sure most people that work at Starbucks, if they're hearing this, and I think I've heard that because I have a friend that she used to work at Starbucks and she would say a lot of things. Because
I know, again, my past history, it's like you have to keep it on the warmer and then you only keep it on the warmer for so long. Otherwise it will burn and then it'll affect.
Right.
And then you have to clean it. Clean the pot with the vinegar or whatever. So, but sometimes I'm like, I just want a cup of coffee, like a regular coffee. I don't want a flavored crappy thing. but then it always tastes burnt. And I'm like, ugh, foiled again.
I like the Pikes roast or whatever. Like that one is pretty good at Starbucks. It's a pretty standard one. And I think that it's probably just like I got a batch that wasn't burnt yet. Or whatever.
Why do they have burnt coffee? I don't know.
I think it was the marketing of Starbucks of like how effective it was that like, this is where you get coffee. This is where you get like, if you want standardized coffee, you can make it your way. And there's all these like new drinks that they bring in at times or like new combinations. And it's just kind of like, it's in like the American psyche. And honestly, it's all over the world, really. I don't know if they have the same level of importance in other countries, but certainly in the United States, they do. Like that's kind of the psyche of it.
Yeah.
And that was definitely established in like the late 90s, early 2000s. And I think it just has stuck, but I really don't, that's just my own opinion. I don't really know anything. So don't ever listen to me as anything factual, but that's just my own thoughts. Glad you're listening, and I'm saying like I don't really know anything. It's the truth. But so anyways, all right, let's close this out, but let us know all of your thoughts on any of this, coffee included,
Adam,
whatever.
Coffee, Jimmy,
Adam,
Johnny Depp,
Jimmy Buffett. If you want to let us know about Jimmy Buffett, go for it.
What's wrong with me?
We're all over it's Monday. People, I mean, I don't know if everybody knows, but we filmed this in Monday morning into like right around lunch, 10 to 2 kind of thing.
Yeah.
Usually, and it's a time.
Yeah,
so,
we're hungry.
Yeah, we're hungry. We're tired. We work around clients, and our minds are just all over the place. But anyways, we hope you enjoyed this. Don't forget to follow us on our socials. We're on everything, including YouTube. Write us a review, refer us, tell a friend, tell an enemy, whatever you got to do the word out, and give us a 5-star review. We'd love that.
Share it.
And don't forget, stay wicked.
And keep your mind well. All right. Have a great week. We'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.
Bye, guys.